Hello, students. So, in this module, we are going to read the story The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse by William Saroyan. Before moving to the chapter explanation, I want to tell you the setting and the background of the story. So, let's check the introduction of the story. The story The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse is a short story by William Saroyan, published in his short story collection My Name is Adam, which was published in 1940. It was an international bestseller. The story is about a young boy and the colorful characters of his immigrant family. Now, here, children, you can see the cover page of the book My Name is Adam. Many of Saroyan's stories were based on his childhood experiences among the Armenian American fruit growers of the San Joaquin Valley, or dealt with the rootlessness of the immigrants. The setting of many of his stories and plays was Fresno, California, sometimes under a fictional name, the center of Armenian American life in California and where he grew up. Saroyan was born in Fresno, California, to Armenian immigrants from Bitlis, Turkey. At the age of 3 after his father's death, Saroyan was placed in an orphanage in Oakland, California, together with his brother and sister, an experience he later described in his writing. So now you must have understood that the chapter that we are going to read, it is actually based on the experiences of writer himself. Let's come to the text part. One day back there, in the good old days, when I was 9, and the world was full of every imaginable kind of magnificence, and life was still a delightful and mysterious dream. My cousin Murad, who was considered crazy by everybody who knew, except me, came to my house at 4 in the morning and woke me up, tapping on the window of my room. Adam, he said. I jumped out of bed and looked out of the window. I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't morning yet, but it was summer, and with daybreak not many minutes around the corner of the world, it was light enough for me to know I wasn't dreaming. Now, children, the meaning of the difficult words that's given here, you can take it from here. Now, here you can see how this boy, like I already told you, that the story is narrated by a 9-year-old boy, Adam. Okay, and he's sharing with us a memory of his childhood. And he says that once when he was asleep and was in a world of extremely beautiful imagination, his life was pleasant and kind of in a mysterious dream. Why he says the life was a mysterious dream? Because children, when you are young, okay, in childhood, everything seems miraculous and the mysteries of life are still to be unraveled. So that's why the narrator says here that life was still a mysterious dream and it was pleasant, as we know that the childhood is the golden age of our life, the golden phase of our life. Now, what he says, what happened that then when he was 9-year-old and he was sleeping sleeping in his room, his cousin Murad, he showed up on the window of his room at 4 in the morning. He called Adam. Adam jumped out of his bed and he could not believe what he saw out of the window. Though it was very early morning, the time of dawn, and there was light enough outside to make him see what exactly was there outside. And he also was sure that he wasn't dreaming right now. The narrator says again, my cousin Murad was sitting on a beautiful white horse. I stuck my head out of the window and rubbed my eyes. Yes, he said in Armenian. It's a horse. You're not dreaming. Make it quick if you want to ride. I knew my cousin Murad enjoyed being alive more than anybody else who had ever fallen into the world by mistake. But this was more than even I could believe. In the first place, my earliest memories had been memories of horses, and my first longings had been longings to ride. This was the wonderful part. Again, check the glossary here, children. The meaning of difficult words I have given here to you to help you in understanding the paragraphs. Now, explanation. What was unbelievable for Adam, of a narrator, that Murad, he was sitting on a white horse. Narrator could not believe it, so he rubbed his eyes and he stuck out his head out of the window. Murad assured him that he was not dreaming. He asked Aram if he wanted to write. He must make it quick. Murad was the type of person who, narrator says that he knew that his brother was that kind of person who enjoyed being alive. Okay, he enjoyed his life, but he couldn't believe that he was seeing a horse in front of him. And Aram also says that how his earliest memories were the memories of horses, and he always wanted to ride one. But this was the wonderful part that he was actually going to ride a horse for real. Till now, it was just a dream. In the next paragraph, the narrator tells us, in the second place, we were poor. This was the part that wouldn't permit me to believe what I saw. We were poor, we had no money. Our whole tribe was poverty stricken. Every branch of the Garoglanian family was living in the most amazing and comical poverty in the world. Nobody could understand where we ever got money enough to keep us with food in our bellies, not even the old men of the family. Most important of all, though we were famous for our honesty, we had been famous for our honesty for something like 11 centuries, even when we had been the wealthiest family in what we like to think was the world. We were proud first, honest next. And after that, we believed in right and wrong. None of us would take advantage of anybody in the world, let alone steal. Explanation. Now, Aram, why it was unbelievable for him to believe what he saw, or what he saw was, it was unbelievable for him to believe that his brother Murad was riding a horse or sitting on a horse, because Aram's family was very poor and they had not enough money that they could afford to buy a horse. Okay, so it was difficult for him to believe. And then he also says that he gives the description of his family, that he belonged to Garoglanian family that was strictly, it was very poor. Okay, and everybody in that family was poor. They did not even know how they managed to get food for themselves every day. So he says that was the funniest part, that they never knew how did they manage to eat, get food for themselves. And he says although their tribe was poor, but they were honest and they were known for that. And he says, and since 11th centuries, when they were considered the wealthiest families of the world, since then they were famous for their honesty. And he says they were honest, proud, and always believed in right and wrong. No one from their family would ever steal anything or would take advantage of anyone in the world. And so these two reasons, first that he belonged to a poor family, so they could not afford a horse, and the second that they were so honest, that they were famous for their honesty, so they can't even, or nobody in their family could ever think about stealing something. So that is why it was difficult for him to believe that his brother Murad was riding a horse or sitting on a horse. The next paragraph tells us, consequently, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, even though I could smell it so lovely, even though I could hear it breathing so exciting, I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad, or with me, or with any of the members of our family, asleep or awake. Because I knew my cousin Murad couldn't have bought the horse, and if he couldn't have bought it, he must have stolen it, and I refused to believe he had stolen it. No member of the Garoglanian family could be a thief. I stared first at my cousin and then at the horse. There was a pious stillness and humor in each of them, which on the one hand delighted me and on the other frightened me. So Aram, he was so excited to see the horse. He found it so pleasant and beautiful. He could smell it, he could hear it breathing, and still couldn't believe that Murad or anyone in the family could afford a horse. He was thinking if Murad had stolen the horse. But then he again thought that nobody in his belonging to Garoglanian family could be a thief. So he was so confused that he was staring at his cousin and then at the horse. And then he says that, he was so excited, he was feeling so pleasant to see that horse that he feels as if there was religious stillness, religious calmness. And he was, and wittiness in both Murad and the horse, as one charmed him and the other scared him. So, what charmed him? Seeing that horse, it charmed him. He was delighted. He was happy to see a horse, that his, you know, his dream of riding a horse is going to be fulfilled. But he was also frightened, thinking that how could his brother manage to get a horse. Now, again, Adam tells us, Murad, I said, where did you steal this horse? Leap out of the window, he said, if you want to ride. It was true then. He had stolen the horse. There was no question about it. He had come to invite me to ride or not, as I chose. Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else, such as money. For all I knew, maybe it wasn't stealing at all. If you're crazy about horses the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. It wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. Let me put on some clothes, I said. All right, he said, but hurry. I leaped into my clothes. I jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up onto the horse behind my cousin Murad. Let's check, children. Explanation part. Children, I'm not telling you the meaning of the words because it is already given. You can take it from there and note it down if you need. Now, here what happened? So, Aram, he asked his brother Murad if he had stolen the horse. Murad replied, if he wanted to ride the horse, he must jump out of the window. Aram was now convinced and he was sure that the horse was stolen by Murad. And Murad came to visit him to ask him to ride it if he wanted. Aram tried to convince himself that it was not the same as stealing money, as they both were so crazy about riding a horse. So now children, you can understand here, when we are going to do something wrong, it is our conscience that keep pricking us. Okay, and instead of explaining it to somebody else, we need to explain it to ourselves, to our conscience, so that it stops pricking. Okay, so that is what here Aram also is doing. Instead of explaining it to others, he is more explaining it to himself, so that his conscience doesn't prick him for riding a horse which has been stolen by his brother. Okay, so now what he says, he gives this excuse that had you been as crazy as I and my brother Murad were for riding a horse, you would have understood that it was not stealing. And he also says that stealing is like stealing money. Okay, stealing horse can never be called stealing, and it would be called stealing if they decide to sell it, but they would never sell it because they loved riding a horse. Aram said he will wear some clothes. So Aram told his brother that he was going to wear his clothes. Okay, and then he would go outside. So he was so excited that he jumped down to his yard from his room's window and sat on the horse behind his cousin Murad. Now the next paragraph. That year we lived at the edge of town on Walnut Avenue. Behind our house was the country, vineyards, orchards, irrigation ditches and country roads. In less than 3 minutes we were on Olive Avenue, and then the horse began to trot. The air was new and lovely to breathe. The feel of the horse running was wonderful. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of our family, began to sing. He began to roar. Every family has a crazy streak in it, somewhere, and my cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. Before him was our uncle Khosrow, an enormous man with a powerful head of black hair and the largest moustache in the San Juan Valley. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring, "There is no harm, pay no attention to it." There are various words, many words which I found, children, difficult, so I have given the meaning here. Let's check the explanation. Adam says that at that time they were living at the edge, at the border of the town on Walnut Avenue. They were, where they lived from there started countryside. There were orchards, vineyards, irrigation ditches, and country roads behind his house. They were on Olive Avenue within 3 minutes, and the horse started to proceed. The air felt new and lovely to breathe. Aram felt wonderful sitting on the horse which was running. Murad started singing loudly, who was considered one of the craziest members of the family. Now, Adam tells us that he was not actually singing, he was roaring. Okay, he must be a bad singer. And then he says that how Murad was considered craziest members of the family. And he also says that there was one more crazy person in their family, and that was Uncle Khosrow, and Murad was considered the natural descendant or successor of that crazy race in their tribe. Now, he then Adam gives us the description of Uncle Khosrow, and he says that he was a huge man with black hair and largest mustache. He had an energetic temper. He was very impatient and he used to get irritated very soon. He used to make anyone stop talking or by roaring and saying it is no harm, pay no attention to it. Then Adam again tells us that was all. No matter what anybody happened to be talking about. Once it was his own son Arak running 8 blocks to the barber's shop where his father was having his mustache trimmed to tell him the house was on fire. This man Khosrow sat up in the chair and roared, "It is no harm, pay no attention to it." The barber said, "But the boy says your house is on fire." So Khosrow roared, "Enough, it is no harm, I say." My cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of this man. Although Murad's father was Zorab, who was practical and nothing else. That's how it was in our tribe. A man could be the father of his son's flesh, but that did not mean that he was also the father of his spirit. The distribution of the various kinds of spirit of our tribe had been from the beginning capricious and vagrant. We rode, and my cousin Murad sang. For all anybody knew, we were still in the old country where, at least according to some of our neighbors, we belonged. We let the horse run as long as it felt like running. Now, here, further, Adam tells us about Uncle Khosrow and he gives an example. He shares an anecdote that how crazy he was. And he says that what happened, Uncle Khosrow was always so rigid that no matter what happened or who happened to be talking. Once, what happened that his own son Arak, he came running to him, and Uncle Khosrow, he was getting his mustache trimmed at the barber shop. The son Arak told him that their house was on fire, and Uncle Khosrow, he did not listen to him, and he roared and said the same dialogue that it is no harm. Baba was amused and he tried to talk to Khosrow and tried to tell him that that his son was there to inform him that their house was on fire. But Uncle Khosrow, he roared again and did not pay attention to it. Murad was considered to be a natural descendant of Uncle Khosrow, though he was not the son of Uncle Khosrow. And Adam tells us that the name of the father of Murad was Zorab, who was a practical man. And he tells us that how in his tribe or in his family, a child could look like his father, but that doesn't mean that he gets his nature and attitude just the same. The different kinds of people in their tribes who are unpredictable, moody, and without any settled work or home. They were still riding the horse, and Murad was still singing loudly. They were still in the countryside where, according to their neighbors, they belonged to. At last, my cousin Murad said, "Get down. I want to ride alone." "Will you let me ride alone?" I asked. "That is up to the horse." My cousin said, "Get down." "The horse will let me ride," I said. We shall see, he said. Don't forget that I have a way with a horse. Well, I said, anyway, you have with a horse, I have also. For the sake of your safety, he said, let us hope so. Get down. All right, I said, but remember, you have got to let me try to ride alone. I got down, and my cousin Murad kicked his heels into the horse and shouted, Wazir, run! The horse stood on its hind legs, snorted, and burst into a fury of speed. That was the loveliest thing I had ever seen. My cousin Murad raced the horse across a field of dry grass to an irrigation ditch, crossed the ditch on the horse, and 5 minutes later returned dripping wet. Now, children, hear what happens. Now, finally, when they were, out in the countryside area and Murad found an open space, then he asked Aram to get down because he wanted to ride that horse alone. But Aram, before getting down, he made Murad to promise him that he would let Aram also ride that horse alone. You know, but Murad, he told him that how he was, he had got away with the horses, so he could deal with the horses, but perhaps Aram would not be able to. But Aram, he insisted that if Murad could deal with the horses, then Aram also could do that. And finally, when Murad promised that he would let Aram ride that horse alone, then Aram got down the horse. And then Aram tells us, he describes that how Murad he rode that horse and how beautiful it was to see that horse running. And finally, after 5 minutes, Murad he comes back with that horse and they both were wet. The sun was coming up. Now it was my turn to ride, I said. My cousin Murad got off the horse. Ride, he said. I leaped to the back of the horse and for a moment knew the most awful fear imaginable. The horse did not move. Kick into his muscles, my cousin Murad said. What are you waiting for? We have got to take him back before everybody in the world is up and about. I kicked into the muscles of the horse. Once again, it reared and snorted. Then it began to run. I did not know what to do. Instead of running across the field to the irrigation ditch, the horse ran down the road to the vineyard of Dikrin Halabian, where it began to leap over vines. The horse leaped over 7 vines before I fell. Then it continued running. My cousin Murad came running down the road. I'm not worried about you, he shouted. We have got to get that horse. You go this way and I'll go this way. If you come upon him, be kindly. I'll be near. Now here, the narrator tells us that how the sun was almost up and Aram told him that it was his turn to ride. Murad got off and Aram sat on the horse. Aram was fearful and the horse did not move. Murad tried to guide him by saying that he should try to kick into the muscles of the horse and told him that he should hurry up because they need to take the horse back before everyone is awake. Aram kicked into the muscles of the horse, to which the horse again raised and breathed out. The horse began to run, and Aram did not know what to do next because he never rode a horse. The horse started going towards the road that leads to the vineyard of Dikran Halabian. It began to move over vines, and Aram fell down. And Aram was sorry that that horse destroyed some vines, some grapevines there in the vineyard of Dikran Halabian. The horse continued to run, and Murad came running down the road towards him. Now Murad he shouted at him, and he told him that he was not worried about, Aram. He was rather more worried about that horse. Okay, and he asked him to go in one direction, and he went into in a different direction. And he also instructed him to be kind if he saw that horse anywhere. So children, I hope you must have understood the part that I discussed today. In case of any queries, you send it to me, drop me a message. Okay, Now let's recapitulate it. Let's check how much we understood. Okay, the first point says the Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. Like I told you, it is narrated by a 9-year-old Armenian boy named Aram, a member of the Garuglanian tribe, living among the lush fruit orchards and vineyards of the San Joaquin Valley in California. One morning, Aram is awakened at 4 by his 13-year-old cousin Murad. Aram is astonished to see that Murad is sitting on a beautiful white horse. Aram was invited to ride the horse with Murad. The idea of Murad stealing the horse drained away from Aram's mind, as when he felt that it wouldn't become stealing unless they offered to sell the horse. They enjoyed rides on the horse for a few hours. After a short time of riding, Murad wanted to ride alone on the horse. Aram had the same longing, but when he sat on the horse and kicked its muscles, it reared and snorted and raced forward, eventually dropping Aram off its back. Now, children, next is your assignment. These are the questions given here, which are based on the part that we read today. Write the answer of these questions. If you feel you stuck somewhere, you ask me the answer of those questions, or you can discuss it with me in your live classes. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Stay safe and sanitized.